Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head back to Germany once again, and we're going to have a look at another one of the beers that I brought back with me from my recent trip down to visit Daniel in Bamberg. Daniel, of course, was the one who got me started on this whole kind of craft beer thing a number of years ago with the Bamberg Rauch beers. But for this one, of course, we're going to return to Franconia, the region in the world that has the highest density of breweries per head of the population anywhere, somewhere in the region of 300 different breweries. For this one, we are going to go to a little town called Schammelsdorf, which is out to the east of Bamberg, and we're having a taste of my first beer from Brauerei Knoblach. And this one is this is my first time going to this brewery, but it's yet another one of the very small family-owned breweries out there. And of course, most of those 300 breweries I was talking about are very small and family-owned. So this one is the Schammelsdorfer Räuchsla Märzen, and it comes in at 5.1% ABV. So it should be a really nice beer. One of the things I noticed about this brewery, actually, when I was having a little read about their beers on Rate Beer, basically a lot of their beers are very highly rated within the kind of traditional beer styles, if you like. They've got very high ratings within that regard, and I've always enjoyed these traditional German beer styles since I lived in Heidelberg, and of course my love of beer started with the Bamberg Rauch beers as well. So really looking forward to trying yet another brewery for you from Franconia, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that hopefully I can do in the future from Brauerei Knoblach. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the German beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Brauerei Knoblach then. So Brauerei Knoblach can be found in Schammelsdorf, which is to the east of Bamberg in Franconia. It's also known as Litzendorf, actually. I think Schammelsdorf is one of the little, almost, areas of Litzendorf, if you like. There's a lot of different kind of sub-towns and all of this kind of thing within Germany as well, which is quite interesting. But these guys can be found out to the east of Bamberg in Bavaria, which is close to Nuremberg, of course. And this whole Franconia region is the northern part of Bavaria. But the current brewmaster is Michael Knoblach, and the family are a very well-known and well-established Schammelsdorf family. But the brewery is part of a restaurant that was formed in 1880 as part of an agricultural estate, and over the years the brewery's passed down the various generations of the Knoblach family, and now Michael's son Johannes has just qualified as a brewer as well. But as I said, they've got a restaurant, they've got a beer garden there which opens up in the summer, and at the moment they're producing around 10 different types of beer, and they've also got different types of schnapps as well. I think there's about 4 or 5 different schnapses that you could get there too. But yeah, most of their beers, as you would guess, are traditional German styles: Weizens, Helles, Dunkels, Pils. I think there's a Schwarzbier in there as well, actually, when you look at it. But they do things like the Märzens too. They've got a Weihnachtsbier, a Frühlingsbier, and all of this. So they've got their various seasonal beers, and they've got their kind of core range as well. But that's all I was really able to find about Brauerei Knoblach at the moment. This is one of the big things when you review these Bamberg breweries. The websites, it's very difficult to get any kind of extensive information on these breweries, because basically they are just very small family units that have a restaurant and their pub, and they pass down the generations, and this brewery I think is in the 7th or so generation at the moment. But another very interesting one. That's all you need to know about the brewery. If you want to learn a little bit more, you can check out the brewery website in the description below, and of course you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and things like that. I'm not sure if this brewery will have an Instagram, but they definitely have a Facebook. I'll check that out when I upload the video. But yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself then. So I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one before we open it up. There you can see Räuchsla Schammelsdorf. That's one of the things I find a bit strange about this one, is that it's not, you know, this one, the brewery name is Brauerei Knoblach, and it doesn't have that on the label anywhere, so I thought this was, you know, Schammelsdorf Brauerei when I first got it. But that is, it is on the bottle cap right enough, but there you can see the little top label. I do love these top labels that the Germans put on their beers, and there you can see the bottle cap. I have to admit, I do like the bottle cap on this one, it's pretty cool. But yeah, without further ado then, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. Like I said, a 5 5.1%, or this one's 5.4%, sorry, it's a 5.4% Märzen, so I told you lies at the start of the video, I thought it was 5.1. But yeah, without further ado, let's get this guy out and we will get on with the tasting then. Yeah. And one thing I should say about this as well, now normally the Germans would use either a Stein or a kind of tall glass for their beer. Unfortunately, I do not have one of the German Steins that is a ½ litre. I've got one that's a bit smaller than that. But I always like using this tulip glass because it is one of the better kind of all-round glasses in terms of flavour and aromas and things like that. It makes you kind of sip it a little bit and it also makes you kind of gulp it a little bit, and then you get the different flavours out of it. But yeah, as you can see, and as you would expect from the Märzen beer then, this one's poured a lovely kind of, I would say a kind of medium amber colour, this one, in terms of a sort of lagerish type beer. Then you can see it's got a nice kind of rich medium amber. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see this beer is crystal clear. There's a solid finger of a frothy, I would say, that head's got a little bit of a cream kind of character to it. But yeah, nothing particularly surprising about this one in terms of its appearance when you do consider it's a Märzen. The one thing I have always found about the Märzens is they've got a slightly darker amber than some of the pills and things like that actually. But yeah, it looks like a very nice beer. Nothing particularly surprising about its appearance when you consider the style. So let's take a closer look at that aroma then and just see how we get on. You can smell when you open this beer up, you get some lovely notes of those German noble hops and some of the nice malts as well. But yeah, oh, that smells really nice. So yeah, with this beer then you get that lovely kind of white bready German malt base, if you like, and you can just feel that underpinning the whole beer. There's a little bit of biscuit in there, there's a little touch of graininess in there as well. You will find that the Märzens do smell a little bit more kind of grainy and more biscuity, if you like, because they are slightly higher in alcohol than the likes of the Helles and things like that. Usually the Helles is somewhere between 4.8 and some of them can be about 5.1ish. So it's not that much of a difference, if you like, but I've always found the Helles ones, the Märzen beers do smell a little bit more boozy, if you like, than the likes of the Dunkels and things like that. But yeah, this one's got a nice kind of grainy, biscuity, bready sort of thing. It's got a little bit of a bread crust, if you like. I've always enjoyed, when I lived in Heidelberg, I used to love the German bread, and this one to me really smells like a nice, toasty bread crust kind of thing. That's what the malt base in this beer really smells like. Of course, you've got some of these lovely German kind of noble hops in there as well, a little touch of earthiness, some good floral aromaticity. I think this one's a little bit herbal as well, to be honest with you, and you can also smell some of that nice grassiness as well. But yeah, a little bit of citrusy note from the grassy quality. You can pick up a little almost lemony citrus to that, but quite minimal, if you like. But yeah, the thing that's really striking me about this one is the prominence of the malt base. It's got a really nice slightly caramel biscuity element to that nice bready malt base as well. But again, one of the things with this beer is that I've found that with the Märzens, they're not overly complex in terms of their aroma, but they're a really nice kind of drinkable beer, these actually. So yeah, as I always say, take a little bit of time and just have a look at the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. But I really want to have a taste of this one now, and this one to me, in terms of the Märzen style, it really leans a little bit more towards the kind of sweeter side of things, if you like. So just bear that in mind when you have a go at this one. But let's have a taste of this beer then and see how we get on. So this one is the Schammelsdorfer Räuchsla Märzen beer at 5.4% from Brauerei Knoblach in Schammelsdorf in Lietzendorf, just out to the east of Bamberg in Germany. Once again, let's get stuck into this beer. Slange, Skål, Prost. Yeah, that's pretty damn nice, I have to say. It's one of the things I always love about the German beers. As I mentioned earlier, my whole love of German beer started with the Rauch beers, and then I got into the Helles. I used to love Weizens before I went to live in Germany. Then I got more into the Helles beer, and later the Dunkels, and then the Doppelbocks came into it. But to me, this is a really, really nice one. I like how everything's going together in this beer. And I can see why this brewery, on their rate beer profile and their Untappd and things like that, I can see why this brewery are very highly rated within the, you know, within the style categories. I can really see that, because the beer, the quality of this beer is really, really nice actually, and it's very, I can tell compared to some of the other Märzens I've had, this one is quite rich in its flavour. It really, the flavours are quite prominent in this, and that's what I really like about this, these beers. And one of the things that's cool, really cool about the Franconian beers as well now, is that so many of these little breweries are starting to try different styles because of the rise of craft beer in Germany. It's always interesting when you've got a country like that that has so many well-trained brewers, and they start trying, you know, the more American style beers and things, and then even the traditional breweries are starting to join in now and brew styles that they wouldn't have normally done, you know, 20 years ago or something like that. I think that's a very cool thing about Bavaria as well, and about Franconia in general. But to me, this is a really nice Märzen, and I do like this one. So, you know, if you get the chance to try this and it's a style you like, I'm sure you will enjoy this one. But yeah, let's try and break this down a little bit then. So, as you would expect, the middle of your palate's just blanketed with that nice, smooth, white bready, almost, no, it's not really wheaty, but it's got that lovely, smooth, white bready quality that goes right across the middle of the tongue. I'm finding that as you go further into the flavour of this one, the palate just dries out a little bit, and you can feel some of the more grainy elements of the beer just coming out. There is an element of graininess to the beer, but if you go to the very centre of your palate, you can feel a sort of a sweetness just lingering in there. And it is quite biscuity actually. There maybe is a little touch of a full-on caramel sort of thing, but the flavour in the very middle of my palate really makes me think about McVitie's Digestives, kind of something like that. It really has that sort of biscuity flavour to it, which is pretty nice actually. I like, as I say, I like how this beer goes together, but it's a little bit more grainy in the flavour than you might expect. When you move further into the aftertaste, the graininess does start to show a little bit of prominence actually. Yeah, I like how that goes together actually. This is a really quite solid Märzen, I have to say. I like this one. Just a little bit more grainy than some of the other ones that I've had, but it comes across very nicely. And like I say, the flavours in this beer are quite pronounced. It retains that sessionability, but the flavours in this beer are quite pronounced. So that rating that it has on Rate Beer of being really good within the style, I can see exactly why a lot of their beers, on the basis of this one, I can see why a lot of their beers are picking up ratings like that. But yeah, on the hoppy side of things, in the back corners of the palate you've got that little bit of earthiness there, and it has a little bit of prominence actually, so it builds a good bridge between the slightly grainier malt profile of this beer and the hoppy side of things. But as you come further forward along the sides of the palate, there's a little tiny touch. There's a little touch of herbal quality to it, but the earthiness just smooths out. You get a little bit of floral aromaticity on the front corners of the palate, then around the very front curve of the tongue. The beer is just a little bit lighter and more grassy. It actually feels quite fresh, this one, which is really nice. Yeah, good beer. I love these traditional German beers, really. But yeah, it's got a nice freshness around the edge of the palate with this one. I really like how the sort of green side of the hops on this one's coming out. With the German noble hops, after a while, you know, you really start to get used to these the flavours you get from these. I would suspect that these ones in here are Hallertau hops. Maybe could be Hersbrucker actually. I think the Hersbrucker ones have a little bit more of that slightly earthy herbal kind of thing going on. So I would wonder if it's Hallertau Hersbrucker that's in here actually. Always interesting to know that. But the German noble hops, the Tettnangers and the Hallertaus, they all have a fairly similar profile. The Czech Sats kind of fits into that as well. But yeah, behind the front curve of the palate, of course, that's where you get that little oily bubble where some of the fruity esters come out of the beer. And to me, the fruity side of this beer, you've got that grassy, slightly lemony citrus at the front of your palate, but you've also got a little bit of a kind of peary. There is a little touch of a peary apple-y ester coming out of this one, or it's maybe like is it not? I'm trying to figure out. There is a little touch of fruitiness to this beer, and it's kind of peary, it's kind of appley, but there is a little touch of a slightly almost candied red fruity note to it. But that's very minimal, actually, I have to say. But yeah, the fruitiness, it's mainly the grassy that typical kind of grassy citrus you're getting out of this one, but there is a little touch of a peary apple-y kind of thing in there, and maybe even just a little teensy bit of a slightly candied red fruit sort of thing coming out of this beer. But the red fruit is really tiny on this one. But to me, this is a really quite nice Märzen, this one. Within the style category, the flavours are really quite prominent with that actually, and I have to say a thumbs up to Brauerei Knoblach for this one. They have done a really good job of this beer, and I would be curious to try their Dunkel and their Helles actually. I need to get a few more Helles reviews on the channel. I've been doing more Dunkels and things recently, but I've enjoyed tasting this one. So if you get the, pardon me, if you get the chance to try this beer, I recommend that you do, and hopefully I can go and visit this brewery on my next visit down to see Daniel. But yeah, I really like this one. In terms of the mouthfeel then, you know, it's a mid-bodied beer, this one. Carbonation has a good bit of crispness to it, actually, I have to say. Yeah. To me, compared to some of the other Märzens, the mouthfeel of this one's a little bit oily, and that's quite nice, actually. It still has that crispness from the carbonation, though. Good little bit of hoppy bitterness, maybe about 30 IBUs, something like that. You know, the malt base, as I say, good balance between, there is a little bit of sweetness to it. It's got a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of smoothness, but the further you go into the aftertaste, you start to get more of the kind of grainy notes coming out of it. But you've also got a little bit of a kind of fruity note to this one in the aftertaste too. But overall, really nice beer, and in terms of the Märzen style, it's a very good example actually. I do quite like this one. A little bit drier in the malt base with the kind of grainy notes, and a little bit more hoppy, I think, too actually. I think those are the two things that make this one stick out a little bit. But yeah, another very good beer within this category, and I always enjoy reviewing these traditional German beers, as I said earlier. But yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. Another very solid German traditional beer this, so have a go at it for yourself and just see what you think, and hopefully I can get back to Franconia fairly soon and try a few more of their different beers. But yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Make sure you check out my social media. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Brauerei Knoblach as well, and hopefully I can return to these guys in the fairly near future. It would be cool to review a few of their different beers. But thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. This was the Schammelsdorfer Räuchsla from Brauerei Knoblach in Lietzendorf, just out to the east of Bamberg in Franconia in northern Bavaria in Germany. Until the next time, Slange just now, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Have a go at this one if you like the traditional German Märzens. Slange, skål.